What is up, everybody, and welcome back to Lesser Athletes. Why does my voice sound like that? It's because I'm sick. I just spoiled the warning. But who should retire WWE superstars? All this talk about retiring John Cena, people retiring, people leaving, got me thinking, who's going to retire who? So in today's video, we are going to talk about who should retire WWE superstars and when they call it quits. I don't know how many people we actually have on here. There's a lot, but I feel very, not confident, but I feel like these are very good choices. But WWE, of course, will choose their own. Like, I obviously think WWE. And also, there's probably better people that will come up in the future when stuff like this happens. So, yes, today is who should retire WWE superstars. So, let's get started. And first, we have to talk about this. So, I decided when I did this video that there was a lot of people that made a lot of sense to retire certain superstars. But I started to realize I didn't have Gunther in a lot of them. And that's an issue because I do think Gunther could retire some superstars. He's retired Bill Goldberg. He looks like he could retire John Cena. And I feel like with those two, like, those are such big retirement things that you don't need to retire anybody else. At the end of the day, you're already the superstar. But truthfully, I think they might still try and get a retirement match. Like, my worry is he could do Brock Lesnar, Undertaker if he comes back. Which Undertaker I think is very fair, but Brock Lesnar, I want somebody else. So I am mentioning this, and I'm worried that because his gimmick could be he retires people, that this could be a fail of a video. But let's just act for today. That's not going to be his gimmick in retirement, so let's skip that. AJ Styles is the first one here, and AJ Styles is going to probably call it quits soon. So I'm thinking about people soonish that could retire in AJ Styles. I think there's two big ones, in my opinion, that I see. And one is pretty obvious to maybe jumpstart career, but the other one's pretty outlandish, I think. The first one is Finn Balor. I think this is the one that I like the most. And all of them, by the way, have one and then honorable mentions. This is the only one that I have two because AJ Styles, I have no idea. And I actually debated on saying Gunther for this one, but I didn't choose Gunther. I think with all the things with Bullet Club, with, their connections, everything they've had, a Finn Balor retiring AJ Styles might give him legitimacy to revive his career a little bit. Maybe that's just copium at the end of the day, but I really do believe, and maybe it's me just seeing him on NXT as a babyface has made me really want to see him as a babyface again. But I really do see Finn Balor more than likely going after AJ Styles and here soon, and probably could be the one to retire him if his retirement season and if his retirement time is now. That's a little John Cena hit for you. The other one that I keep going back to is the current TNA champion, Trick Williams. Now, I don't know if he will be TNA champion at this time. I don't think he will. I think he could lose to Mike Santana coming up soon. But I think Trick Williams as TNA champion against an AJ Styles for a title versus career could be tremendous. It could be amazing. Now, even if he doesn't have the TNA title, I could see a storyline going to WrestleMania of Trick Williams going against AJ Styles and maybe trying to retire an AJ Styles. I think Trick Williams should retire an AJ. I think it would make sense if he's calling himself the best TNA champion. AJ Styles stops him from saying that. I also wonder if he retires in TNA. That's why my honorable mentions here is going to be, other than those two, a young star that we haven't seen or we're not thinking about, maybe an Obafemi, Carmelo Hayes, or maybe a TNA run where he retires in TNA. Seth Rollins. This is an interesting one for me because there's a couple ways you can go about this, but I'm going to go a different way than one way because you could look back at the Shield. You could look back at some other feuds he's had. You can look at the Vision now, and I think that's the biggest thing for me. I think now, because we have the Vision, and I think they should be a group for 2 years, maybe 2 years, and then they start breaking off. I think Braun Breaker should be the one to retire Seth Rollins. Call me crazy, and I know you might say, well, what about Roman Reigns getting a win? I don't think he should retire Roman Reigns to retire Seth Rollins. I think, if anything, Braun Breaker should be the one to do it because Braun Breaker is probably going to be massive. He's going to be insane. And with the Vision connections, I would love this for Braun Breaker. I think the storyline where Braun Breaker has to retire his mentor could work out, especially with Paul Heyman. And I don't see Seth Rollins retiring for another 3-ish years. So when that time comes, then he retires. The only other person I could see is young star potential that we have coming soon that calls it, but I do think now, because of storyline wise, it's Braun Breaker. Roman Reigns. This is an obvious one. It has to be Seth Rollins. I know everyone could say Roman Reigns should retire Seth Rollins or the other way around. I just think they both put their careers on the line for each other, and I want Seth Rollins to go out on top. Roman Reigns is by far one of what is going on behind me? Roman Reigns by far is on the Mount Rushmore, in my opinion, of wrestlers right now. Not even right now, probably ever, because of what he did during COVID. Like, he carried it, and that was the darkest times, and he still made it, good. I think for that reason, if he's on the Mount Rushmore, Seth Rollins deserves to be on the Mount Rushmore of the 2010s and on. Like, I think Seth Rollins is very deserving of being, and I really, this is how I feel. I think if you're looking at a prototypical person in the prototype you want for a superstar for WWE, Seth Rollins is it. I think for storyline wise and what would make the most sense is Seth Rollins retiring Roman Reigns. I don't think it should be the other way, and that's where I would go. Two others I could see though is Braun Breaker, obviously, because spear on spear, Paul Heyman connections, and Jacob Fatu. That is a Samoan that is amazing, and maybe Jey Uso, maybe Solo, hopefully not Solo. But I can see Jacob Fatu if they want to give him the insane push. Rey Mysterio. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this. It's Dominic Mysterio. I don't know if it will happen soon, but I thought it would be maybe in San Diego for Survivor Series. But I really just believe that here soon it'll be AAA Championship, one-on-one to win it. Dominic Mysterio probably retirement match later on in their careers. Maybe WrestleMania 43. Now that's the thing, but we'll see. But yes, Rey Mysterio is what I'm going to mention. There's no one else for this one. Randy Orton's an interesting one to me. I actually debated on this one for a little bit because I thought maybe you could go some ways where you're going to past factions. You go into maybe more recent storyline. There's just a lot of people that could do it. And because there's a lot of people that can do it, I'm going to go with one that is probably more of the face of the WWE, and that is Cody Rhodes. I think, obviously, there's big connections with them back in the day in factions. They've been in storylines together almost since, Randy Orton returned to Survivor Series. Like, to me, because Randy was his mentor, to me, it makes sense that Cody would be the one to do it, especially that now he's the face of WWE. But my honorable mention's young talent, because I think for Randy Orton, you could put up another legend killer to go and retire Randy Orton. Maybe that's Carmelo Hayes with the kind of Randy Orton-esque feel. I don't know why I feel that way, because they're both completely different, but maybe it's because they both snotty heel. I don't know. I really don't know. I just think that this would make sense, and I hope, I honestly, out of all the people, this makes the most sense. CM Punk. Now, there is a lot of different ways we can go about this one. Truthfully, a lot. You could say it's Seth Rollins, and I don't want to choose that. I don't think they should choose that. I think by the time he retires, which I'm going to guess maybe like 2027, 2028, probably 2028, 2029 even. Dang, that's crazy. I have some predictions. I have some crazy predictions. When I think of CM Punk, I need someone that can go at him on the mic the same way. I want a young star or somebody that could really be developed as that guy in the future, or just reminds them of a young CM Punk. Out of everyone here, who reminds me of a young CM Punk? Well, I just mentioned Carmelo Hayes, but it's not him. And it's not anyone here, actually. It's MJF. I don't know why, but to me, with how they feud in AEW, I think MJF would be the perfect person to retire CM Punk. When CM Punk calls it quits, I think an MJF who comes back, maybe a year feuding or something, then gets the retirement of Punk. That's a shot to stardom. And I think maybe it would already be at stardom when he comes here. I think it is destiny for him to go to AEW or WWE. And my God, this could be it. Now, I have a lot of potential mentions. Seth Rollins, Jeff Hardy, if somehow he's still wrestling, which would be insane. Carmelo Hayes. Ricky Saints is one that I keep liking. That little swag, that little defiant kind of nature. I kind of like a Ricky Saints, just maybe some mentions. Maybe Ethan Page. I don't know. I don't know about you, but there's certain ones, maybe it's because the women's side is now getting so young that there's not really a lot of retirement. I don't know why, but the retirement of the women's side feels like it's harder to choose. Charlotte Flair in particular. There's two other women I think on here that, and I really actually now thinking about it, it really is probably because the men's side's so older and they look like they're about to retire in 4-ish years. So a lot of the young talent's here to retire them. While the women's side, like Charlotte Flair could go on for a long time. I would not be shocked. And I think, I really do believe that there's a lot of people that could retire her, but they're not maybe here right now, or that it's so far in the future, we don't know. Charlotte Flair, though, this is, again, a really hard one. I am going with somebody that I think she passed the torch to out of all the people, not Tiffany Stratton, but I mean, this is really passed the torch. That's Rhea Ripley. I think with her being so over, and this would be the official, like, passing of torch to potential greatest wrestler of all time for the women's side. Like, that is a fair push in my opinion. I think it makes sense to do that. And that's why I'm going to go with Rhea Ripley to a Charlotte Flair. But there's a lot of different people you could go. Some honorable mentions is Tiffany Stratton, obviously, where I feel like there. Sol Ruca, I have said for a long time, is a dream match of mine for them to go. Bayley or Becky, obviously, any of the 4 horsewomen would make sense to go. Kind of like Bayley. I kind of really like Bayley. Obviously, Becky Lynch makes a lot of sense too with, past feuds. And then young talent is always going to be an honorable mention because maybe we just haven't seen it, or maybe it's a save a care. I don't know. There's a lot. I don't know. Roxanne Perez, maybe. I don't know. Brock Lesnar. Nah, I should have probably done it like the Paul Heyman voice. I chose not to. But Brock Lesnar could retire. I think this is my unofficial retirement date for him after the announcement of WrestleMania 43. It's Saudi. I think that Saudi money is going to speak, and then that's where we see maybe the end of Brock Lesnar, unless some news comes out. So originally I thought before that news came out that WrestleMania would have they would have a WrestleMania, or not WrestleMania, sorry, SummerSlam Minnesota would be where he retires, because obviously SummerSlam, it's big, it's in Minnesota for him. Makes sense, right? Well, now for WrestleMania 43, I don't know if that makes as much sense. So with Brock Lesnar here, I'm going to say Braun Breaker, and I think that makes sense. I think they need to get a new Brock Lesnar-esque person after the retirement of Brock Lesnar, which I don't think is a good thing, actually, now thinking about it. And I wouldn't want that from Braun Breaker because I think he could put on great matches. But still, defense guy not defense, but insane guy that's super fast, athletic, and can destroy anybody, and Paul Heyman on his side makes sense for Braun Breaker. Now, there was a rumor that came out today when I'm recording that they want Braun Breaker and Brock Lesnar potentially for WrestleMania 42, which would be insane if that's the case, and I'd really wonder how they would do that, because I thought Gunther and Brock Lesnar would be the match, but maybe they have bigger things planned for Gunther. But I am going to go Breaker versus Brock Lesnar. And there's some good honorable mentions. People that could slay the beasts, obviously. Gunther is going to be an honorable mention. I could see that happening. Drew McIntyre, Jacob Fatu. Obafemi is the one person that I keep coming back to, and I'm like, if it's WrestleMania 43, and if my timelines work where maybe Obafemi has a U.S. title run for a long time, loses the title, and then immediately gets put in a feud with Brock Lesnar and retires Brock Lesnar, I mean, come on. He's a superstar. Becky Lynch, the greatest women's wrestler of all time, and it's not just me saying it. It's Sports Illustrated saying it, Bleacher Report saying it, Milwaukee or Chicago Tribune. Papers are saying it. Becky Lynch is a little bit of a difficult one, but I think it's a somewhat obvious one, but I don't know if this is recency bias. I kind of want to pick somebody that reminds me of Becky Lynch instead of who I'm going for. And I'm trying to think off the top of my head who that one could be. But there's not really anyone that gives that Becky Lynch kind of flair. It's not Charlotte Flair. I am going with Lyra Valkyria just because that is her protege. And Lyra Valkyria is someone to me that I think Becky Lynch would want to push over and become a top women's star after this. But at the same time, I don't know if I love that. That's just me thinking realistic and not what I love. I think something with the 4 horsewomen would make sense. And then young talent, I keep looking back at. I need to think of a women's star like Roxanne Perez maybe, but like I don't think that's like a Becky Lynch-esque. Like that's not Becky Lynch. Like there's just no one right now that I think possesses. I'm really just trying to think off the whole roster now, and I can't off the top of my head. I feel like there's something on my cheek. I don't know why. There's no one there, in my opinion, that reminds me of that Becky. Like off the top of my head, like obviously I'm probably missing somebody, but the mic work, the mic skills, the in-ring skills, that like I don't know how to explain it, that gruesome nature, I don't know. And that right now it's just young talent for me. Like that's all I can say. Yeah, I think for her retirement, and also I just took a little break thinking of trying to think of people. I can't, and I think. Just like Punk's retirement, they would need somebody that replicates what Becky Lynch is. Maybe I should have looked at AEW and other promotions for this one. But yeah. Not Liv Morgan. No, I don't know. And finally, we have somebody that has just returned AJ Lee. It's Roxanne Perez. Do you really think it's anybody else? No. I think this needs to be Roxanne Perez if AJ Lee would call it quits in 2 years. If it's something after or before, we'll see. I think this match happens beforehand also. So, yeah, I'm going to go AJ Lee with against Roxanne Perez. And then young talent if there's anything there. But, yeah, I think it's AJ Lee getting retired by Roxanne Perez for sure. Maybe they had the feud before for the IC title. We'll see on that. Other than that, I hope you guys enjoyed. Let me know what you think down in the comments below. I will see you in the next one. Goodbye.